Welcome back to The Workaround. My name is Bob Gilberth. I'm your host. You are in good company with over 10,000, that's right, we're over 10,000 now, fellow entrepreneurs and innovators who follow my stories from a career in tech, startups, and corporate innovation. I'm sitting here right now to make you smile, think, and discover a shortcut to success or a trap to avoid. We're going to get right into this one. It is called What's Your Real Business? Keep scratching the surface and you might be surprised. Do you know why people buy your company's brand and category? Are you really sure? I bet you know your elevator speech, competitive set, and points of parity and superiority. You probably have buckets of data about who, what, when, where, why, and how they buy. You might even be familiar with the jobs you're hired to do model. It can really help ladder up to the main reason people make a purchase. But often, we're fooling ourselves, or at least not digging deep enough to understand how these crazy people called customers actually make decisions. Often, they don't even know why they buy. It takes a lot of curiosity and usually getting personally embedded in a business to see how things really work. And once you do see these programs running in customers' minds, your business decisions hit a breakthrough. I first learned the art of positioning as a brand marketer at Procter & Gamble. We had a lot of fancy names and processes, including concepts with accepted consumer beliefs, or ACBs, benefit statements, and reasons to believe, or RTBs. We framed marketing and brand equity choices around a who, what, how model. All these systems and many more were time-tested on billion-dollar brands over several decades. But I had been working for the company over a year before learning about the secret behind our success. It first came when my friend on the Downy fabric softener brand told me the unofficial name for the product: love in a bottle. At the time, I thought it was one of those goofy phrases that each brand team used to make their jobs seem more important. When I was on Tide, for example, we said we bled orange to show our commitment to the business. But my friend explained, sure, Downy makes clothing feel softer, but that's not why moms buy it. The real reason is that they want their family members to put on a freshly cleaned shirt over their heads and feel how good it smells. That's me smelling. And at that moment of enjoyment, they remember that mom or dad or spouse made an extra effort to wash their clothes, which means they love them. A capful of Downy expresses love among family members. The result is a multi-billion-dollar category. And it's why you see so many fabric softener advertising images of family members smelling and feeling the love. Later, I practiced this secret as a brand manager for Mr. Clean. My team and I launched and expanded Magic Eraser with a visual demo of how the product removed crayon from a painted wall. If you're a parent, you know all kids do this at some point. And a $2.99 box of Mr. Clean Magic Erasers was a bargain compared to the $299 or more painting project cost. Our real job was to save parents from significant stress, and they found many other ways to use it once we got in the door. I would go on to see many more examples of these real jobs in my 6 years at P&G, especially in our more discretionary categories. Febreze is one of the company's most recent billion-dollar brands, but it almost never made it to market. As a new hire, I sat next to this team as it struggled to crack the code. The product was brilliant, a way to remove odors from fabrics. However, people only used it for a handful of rare issues in test market. like after a pet accident or when returning home from a smoky bar. Remember those smoky bars? But that meant the bottle was only used a couple times a year. Definitely not enough for a major P&G category to succeed. The breakthrough came when some consumers in a long-term test market started using it as a finishing spray on carpets and couches at the end of their weekly cleaning routine. The real problem this solved was that family members didn't appreciate their cleaning effort. But upon entering the now obviously clean-smelling home after work or school, they got the message and made the mom or dad stuck with this chore feel more special. In other words, oh, you cleaned today. And again, lots of other ads you probably remember about the mom, the dad, the kids coming home from school, opening up the door and smelling that cleaning was done. But there's even more. Crest white strips. They were mainly bought so people could look good in photos. Most sales happened around weddings, proms, graduations, and other special occasions. Downy paper towels exist so parents don't freak out when their kids spill something. Its super absorbency and handy kitchen counter placement is insurance against shouting and childhood trauma. Finally, Pampers, the most premium priced disposable diaper, are mainly purchased by first-time parents who want the best for their newborn and or don't feel right penny pinching yet. I left P&G to become a partner at a digital advertising agency in 2004, just as the marketing world was making a big shift in our direction. Over 7 years, we grew the business from $10 million in revenue to $40 million. We earned revenue by building many websites, email programs, mobile apps, and banner ads. Our clients needed this work and were happy to hire us to complete it on time, on brand, and on budget. But this wasn't why they really chose and stuck with us. I saw the real reason each year when my teams and I would present annual digital strategy recommendations. We spent weeks pulling data, uncovering insights, assessing the consumer and competitive landscape, and creating detailed plans for rolling out big ideas. I particularly remember a strategy I personally delivered to the Vicks brand team. Long before Google and others got into the game, I presented our recommendation for Vicks to be the source of national cold and flu tracking. Instead of buying more ads, we built an owned media channel to provide evergreen awareness, traffic, and trust. Exactly when people were looking to buy their products to survive cold and flu season. The brand team loved it. I think I even got a high five on my way out of the door. But a week later, they renewed our contract with a much higher budget. And they asked us to just create more banner ads, email programs, and social apps. Countless big ideas have filled the trash cans of advertising agencies, even when clients love them. That's because the real job of this work is often to give clients the confidence that you are a top creative agency. They rarely have the courage or the budget to go as big as you want, but they enjoy the theater of the pitch and look at this as a sign that your agency still employs smart people who care about your business or their business. It broke our hearts a little bit whenever our big ideas were regularly forgotten in PowerPoint decks, but it was worth the effort to retain and grow our client relationships. We made a tidy profit on lots of safer executional work. And once in a blue moon, a client would let us take a chance on something crazy, like a banner ad for Pringles that people actually clicked on over 90 times. And I've got a link on Substack, or if you're watching on YouTube, below to show the case study of our Pringles Can Hands endless banner ad that won a bunch of awards, and we're really proud of. Many service businesses have a similar real job that you only notice once you take an honest look at what's going on. couple examples. First, coaches, therapists, personal trainers, very similar story. As an example, an executive coach I know makes $250,000 per year per client. He told me that at least 60% of the value he provides is the pressure to get clients to do self-work between those sessions. This is why I personally continue with guitar classes with my teacher of over 7 years. I don't want to disappoint him by the time we have class again. So I spend a lot of time during the week working on my music and trying to improve. I think in many of these cases, we all could do the work on our own and save a lot of money in the process, but we probably wouldn't do it without someone to hold us accountable. Or take consultants, the big enterprise type consultants especially. Their real job is often to cover the politics around a key decision. No one at these companies wants to put their careers on the line. So hiring a brand name firm that everyone can agree on and sink or swim together with is much easier. Plus, you can blame them if it turns out poorly. Financial advisors. You're not hiring them to beat the market. You're hiring them to keep you sane when the market is going nuts, like right now. The best don't even look at the market every day. Instead, they keep us clients from doing one or two really dumb things over a few decades of investing. Or vacation resorts. Sure, you want to relax and be pampered, but their real job is not to screw up your precious time and money. For resorts, the risk of getting a 1-star review is 10 times worse than investing in a tiny feature like a higher thread count on the sheets. That's why Ritz-Carlton, for example, allows employees to spend up to $2,000 per guest to resolve an issue before it becomes a 1-star review that ruins someone's time off. Digging into the real reasons people buy your product or service can unearth directions for innovation and differentiation. It can also hide blind spots where customer retention is at risk. Here's a couple things that I wish I had that seem pretty easy to execute. Netflix. My wife and I can't be the only ones who want to watch a 1-hour show together before going to bed. But we spend at least 15 minutes scrolling and debating, arguing, before giving up and watching old Seinfeld reruns again. Hey Netflix, why not make recommendations and more shows based on what a couple is looking for? Or take Uber. The real job of this company is to eliminate stress while maximizing enjoyment. Let me have one more drink at dinner and allow me to get to the stadium or airport without paying for parking. Ironically, the app almost never helps you plan the pickup. They're really only doing half of this stress relief job. And finally, think about angel and VC investing, something I've been on all sides of. I believe one of the real reasons individuals invest in startups is to get exposed to interesting companies and founders. And some of us investors, that is, want to brag about the companies we're invested in with friends at the country club, for example. Yet, startups almost never get to meet the individual investors, the LPs, who bet on their companies. And LPs don't know which of their peers are in the funds. I see a lot of opportunity to treat funds like a community rather than just a maximizing return on investment. The key in all these and many more, and thinking about your own business, is to ensure that you're not being too pure or precious with your positioning and ideal customer profile. These insights emerge more clearly when you admit that customers don't truly love your brand and often buy things for very irrational reasons. Heck, this real reason concept even works for examining and potentially improving your personal choices and behavior. For example, a real reason I'm an entrepreneur is that I hate having a boss. I'd rather live with my bad decisions than execute somebody else's. A real selfish reason I keep an open calendar for people is that I get to learn something from them in every meeting. And a real reason I wrote this post and it's saying to you now is to prevent you from hitting the unsubscribe button. If I continue to keep your trust by writing something of value, then one day I'm sure we'll have an excuse to help each other out. As for the real reason that you're listening or watching this, I'm hoping you're looking for a world-changing insight. But it's more likely you're trying to kill some time before the next to-do on your list. Either way, I'm happy you're here. I hope you stick around. All right. Oh, hey, how we might work together when you're in need. Fleet is our holding company for service businesses. We invest in leaders who are ready to start their own companies. We also do a little bit of M&A work. If this might be you, please hit my office hours link. Would love to talk to you about it. A2 Influence is our content development agency that helps some of the biggest brands and retailers in the world create and distribute authentic content at scale, including social and influencer. Our CEO, Rob Reinfeld, would love to share our approach for success. Revelin is our consulting practice that helps with revenue alignment, growth management, and other RevOps functions. Its CEO, Jess Schumann, is standing by, and she would love to give you a no-cost assessment of your business. And then again, please feel free to schedule a chat during my open office hours. I've got a link all around here. We can discuss questions, feedback, networking, any topic, seriously, any topic. And I've also got links to my LinkedIn and email, whatever works for you. Finally, the bonus cool content of the week. Little something I found interesting. Maybe you'll agree. This is from Roger Martin, who is a strategist. Each week, he sends one post that brings so much smart stuff to my inbox. It's some of the best thinking that you'll find in business, period. I've shared his work before here and there over the years, and I'm compelled to do it once again. He has a recent post called The Myth of Objectivity and Strategy. And in this one, Martin writes that objective data is not necessarily truth. He makes the point that we often rely on data and the scientific process to drive our thinking. We even frequently call people idiots when they try to argue against our precious data. But we often fail to examine how the data is collected in making our case. And that can lead to lots of problems in the choices that we make if we over-rely on this, quote, objectivity of data when setting up our strategies. He even goes on to talk about a story of a public feud with Bill Gates and how the Microsoft founder was not immune to citing one piece of data and, quote, surrounding it with an ocean of subjectivity. So check that out. I've got the links on Substack and over on YouTube. Enjoy it. Subscribe to Roger Martin, and hope to see you next time. Ahoy for now.